Hello there, my name's Christian Payne, and today I'm going to talk about something that really excites me. It's clearings. Clearings are one of those things that in your management or your self-development toolbox is just, for me, the most essential skill that is never ever taught and no one ever talks about. So let's get into it. So clearings, when should you use this? It's whenever you feel an emotional charge that's out of proportion. Okay, and we'll dig into that in a sec. This process takes, 5 to 20 minutes, give or take. It's the more you do it, the more you practice it, you can get it down pretty quick. You definitely want to find a quiet, personal, uninterrupted space. And remember the ground rules that we'll go through, and safety first. So what is it? It's when you've got a strong emotion that's out of proportion. And I love Donald Trump because he triggers so much in so many people. But the kicker is you want to resolve that, or you want to fix that, or you want to at least look at it. And I say that because, some people just want to be angry, and that's fine. This is for someone who wants to a bit of honesty and a bit of self-reflection and to learn something about them to hopefully make you a better person. It's very easy to talk about the negative, but it can also be a positive charge. And a really good example is, about a celebrity or someone you admire. I just think they're an amazing person. And this can be a really interesting process that you could just do on your own. What is that? Just dig a bit deeper. What are you seeing? Because you might learn something good about yourself. And that's the kicker, is you've got to be prepared to own your own stuff. Okay, so my pro tip: start with the small stuff. Okay, I'm going to run through an example. I'm going to use Donald Trump, but you'll see why, at least initially, that's not such a good idea. But yes, start with something small. So as I said before we begin, the ground rules. You want to create a safe space. Okay, the person you're facilitating or yourself, you're going to go on an emotional journey. Some things might be said that come out a bit wobbly or don't sound right, or whatever it is, and that's fine. What you don't want is the pitchforks to come in on them, okay, while they're exploring and looking at them, looking at themselves. So, create a safe space. Remember, it's voluntary. You can't force someone into it. That's a bit weird. And you've definitely got to respect what's being said and be present. For goodness sakes, turn the phone off, close the laptop. If you need to, print this off on, go old school on paper. But be present. You can't skip ahead. These steps are very deliberate and very organised, and it will break it. It doesn't work if you try and jump ahead. And it'll come out wobbly, and quite likely the person will do a clearing on you because they feel a certain way. So let's get into it. I'm going to quickly fly through it because it's much easier to show you with an example of how it works and how it applies. Step number 1 is, what are the feelings and emotions? And, the person can be a bit excited or a bit charged or whatever, but, describe that feeling? Fine isn't acceptable. Okay, if there's some emotion, then talk about it. At least one of the minimum 5. Anger, sad, glad, fear, or shame. Anger, angry. Sad, glad or happy. Fear, embarrassment, whatever, and shame. Step number 2 is, what's the data? So the data is the black and white what happened. It's the before, during, after, what happened and what was said. You don't want any judgments, okay? So, when I saw you, Jim, you came into the room, you said something, and that meant you... No. Jim walked in the room, some words were spoken, and that's probably it. Okay, so you want this, you need to split it into the sort of sections or the key components. If I was in the room and a silent observer, what would I say? Okay, I don't know you, but how would I describe it? I don't know how you're feeling. It's not about judgment, it's being factual. And if some new feelings come up, go back to step 1 and do the feelings again, that's fine. It's great to get some further clarity around what's going on. So cool. So we've got the data. Go back if necessary. The next is the judgments, okay? And so, well, what type of person would do that? How could an intelligent, would someone tell this idiot that his village called? Okay, and the judgments are the real emotion, and you want them to absolutely exhaust themselves when they do this. You want to empathise with them, but don't rush. Don't rush it. Clarify some of the feelings, like, oh, that feels like embarrassment, or is that sadness as well as anger? Ask those sort of open leading questions, but you really want to get into the meat. What do you think? What happened? What does it mean? Get into those judgments. Because they're all a projection. And if this is a new concept to you, it can, be prepared or be, you've been warned. Projections are what you see in other people. You have an element of that in yourself. Or if you can spot it, you got it. So if you can see arrogance in someone, if you can see selfishness in someone, if you can see love in someone, if you can see kindness in someone, if you can see happiness, you've got them in you somewhere, okay? And so things like, racism is a classic. We get our own judgments kicking in, but, if you're seeing that, there's a part of you, there's a part of me that can see, not now, but maybe previously there was, something happened that you might have had those thoughts or whatever. And here, this is where the safety is so important, because you want that honesty, okay? Things like concepts like Me Too and, those sort of, Black Lives Matter and that kind of stuff. Like, this is, again, back to the safety, because you need that safe space to be able to express what's going on. And to walk through that sort of, valley of death. Because what you might see might not sound too, So just be patient, be understanding, and just trust the process. The Carl Jung quote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." And again, so the projection, what you're seeing, you have done or you are, that is a part of you, okay? Doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, that's irrelevant. Cool, so from those judgments, what type of person would, how could intelligent, how could an idiot? Where do you do that in your life? What actions or behaviours does this remind you of? All right. And what we're looking for a deeper truth. So where else does this show up? Where in your life might you do the same? Okay. So be patient, but get them to answer these questions and to dig a little bit deeper in what's going on for them. And so an example, I'm going to use Donald Trump. And for me, the feelings or the emotions, specifically this is about when he won't admit defeat in the election. Okay, this was a few weeks ago. There was a moment, but how do I feel? I definitely feel angry at him. I definitely feel angry. I'm going to say fuck you, but we're into judgments there, so I need to focus. This is where it's a bit tricky. I need to focus on the emotion. So I feel some anger, and I feel an element of sadness. Like that's. There's sadness inside of me, okay? And you can feel, I just want to jump into judgments, but it's no, stay with the emotions, stay with the data, and data can be a bit tricky. I know for myself, there was just a moment in time when he wouldn't admit defeat in the elections, and I realised he isn't going to admit defeat. So that's the data. The judgment, so what type of person? Like, he's an asshole. Like, F you, it's someone who wants both sides of the coin. He wants the glory and the positivity of being president, but he doesn't want the bad stuff. He doesn't want to lose. That's the thing with democracy. Someone has to lose, and and so I could go on, and this is where this subject is quite a big deal. So I'm going to try and keep it a bit small. But, where do I do that? Where have I wanted both sides? And I could definitely see, in my 20s, I was not a nice person. Okay, I'll describe it like that. I was a bit of a sulk. I would play the victim. And you can see how, where do I do that in my life? That definitely was me in the past. And this is about my process. It's got nothing to do with Trump. This is about me learning something about me. And so what actions and behaviours did that remind you of? And I could go into my own story. Now, I don't feel safe saying this, okay? So I'm not going to share that with you. But this is where, with a trusted advisor, coach, something like that, I would go in a bit deeper of, where else has that shown up in my life? So that's hopefully an example. And you withdraw the projections. So someone who's brave enough to withdraw his projections is an individual who's conscious of a pretty thick shadow. And so what we're talking about there is, again, it's not about Trump. This is about me. And this is where I've done that in my life. Okay. And with I see a person who's facilitating this for the first time. They're wanting this big aha moment. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. So I want to stress, you're looking for a shift. Like, we're not trying to cure cancer. We're not trying some big elaborate thing. We're just trying to, my wife uses the metaphor of a snow globe, is that, have a pretty snow globe and everything's fine until you shake it. It's all messed up. And we're looking for a shift or a change, not some big aha moment. That doesn't always happen. And this is where, are you complete? And the answer is a yes or no. And sometimes they're in a state of confusion or they're not really clear, but they need a bit of time to sort of digest what's been discussed. And if not, then what? Let's talk about more. Are there some more judgments there? What's missing? So you can go back, and if you need to, go right back to the start. Are there any new feelings? Is there any new data? What are the judgments? Okay. And as I was saying before, confusion's acceptable. Confusion is where you've shaken up the snow globe, their model of the world. It's different. Okay. And they need a bit of time to digest, and they need that sort of safe space to think, oh, okay, that part of me wasn't good, or that part of me needs to change. I'm just not sure what I want to move to yet. Okay. So you give them that sort of safe space. So to recap, start off with feelings. How are you feeling? Anger, sad, glad, fear, or shame? Data, what happened before, during, after? The judgments, only a, all those sort of judgments. From that, what are the projections? And where else have you done that, or where else has that shown up in your life? Withdraw the projections, and then are you complete? And here's my sense with this. Confusion's acceptable. So as we're coming to the end, what's going on for you? And there'll definitely be some people watching this who will say, I'm arrogant, it's bullshit, it doesn't work. And so here's my invitation for you, run through the process, okay? You don't know me, so you don't know if I'm arrogant or not. I might be, but it's irrelevant. This is about you and your process. And so the feelings are arrogant, probably anger, frustrated, something else, I'm not sure. The data is you were watching a video that I recorded. That's the data. The judgments we've covered. And then the projections. So where are you arrogant? Where has that shown up in your life? It would be arrogant to suggest you've never done that. How about we find a common ground and we'll leave it at that. Okay. And this is why I say the confusion's acceptable. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I can assure you I am complete. But if you're not, this is the sort of thing. Find a trusted advisor, find a coach, find someone, friend. I would be careful. Friends can, not always be the most supportive, person for this sort of work. So, be aware of that. But just find a safe space. Do what you need to do. Because, it's life-changing stuff. You're rewriting people's, behavior patterns. And I can assure you, it's the metaphor of a firework. You change one person, and I've literally seen this. You change one person and that explodes, and then they affect their, significant other, parents, kids, so on and so on and so on. It's really amazing, really cool stuff. So, I hope that's helpful. My name's Christian Payne. Good luck.